Okay, this is part 3 of our lesson on, our review of right triangle trigonometry. In this video, we're going to start off looking at sets of possible triangle sides. We'll look at 3 numbers at a time, and the question is, which of these combinations of numbers could possibly form a triangle? Alright, here's a quick example. Say if I gave you these 3 lengths, a 2, a 3, and a 6, and I asked you, can I form these lengths into a triangle? What do you think? Think about it for 5 seconds. Okay, now let me show you why you cannot form this into a triangle. Okay, here's what's going on. If you look at the longest side as the bottom, alright, just to help you visually, then I've got this 3 and 2, okay? Now here's the bottom line. 3 plus 2 is only 5, alright? The distance here is 6. So you can think of it as, you can think of it as rotating this side around any way you want. Now I'm trying to make this triangle, okay? So I'm trying to get these as close together as possible, okay? But because they are 6 apart and together 3 plus 2 is only 5, no matter how I rotate these things, they are just never going to reach. They're never going to reach. And in fact, as close as they can get is being down flat. Maybe I should make them a different color, like pink. Okay, they'll get pretty close when they're down flat. But again, the most they can make is 5, not 6. So there's always going to be this gap of 1 in between. Alright, so you can't make a triangle with 3 and 2 and 6, okay? What if it was, instead of 3 and 2, what if it was 3 and 3 and 6? Okay, what if I extended this? Alright, so let me reset a little bit. So, so I've got a 3 over here, and this was a 2, but what if this was another 3? So that would look like this, okay? Now this middle distance is still 6. Let me bring this to the front for a second. Alright, so it's not hiding behind anything. Alright, this bottom is still 6, but I've got a 3 over here and a 3 over here. Now 3 plus 3 is 6, so they should be able to touch. So will I be able to build a triangle out of this? I'm hoping to convince you that the answer is still no, even though 3 plus 3 is 6. The reason why is because as I try to move these closer together, okay, they're getting closer and closer, right? They're getting closer to making a triangle. They're still not touching yet, are they? So I got to move them a little bit closer by arcing them a little bit further down. Alright, they're still getting closer and closer, but they're not quite touching yet. Alright, I'm hoping you can see, because 3 plus 3 is exactly 6. Nothing left over, nothing extra. Alright, nothing left over to stand up and sort of make a tent out of. These are not going to touch until they are flat. Okay? When I put these all the way down flat, that's when they touch. Alright, that's when my 3 plus 3 makes 6. So they will touch, but not until they form a straight line, not a triangle. So you cannot make a triangle. So the moral of the story is, the 2 smaller sides have to add up to more than the biggest side. Okay, not less, not equal. One more time, the 2 smaller sides need to be more than the biggest side to make a triangle. Okay, so 1, 4, and 6. Will that make a triangle? Well, let's see. Focus on the bigger side is 6. 1 plus 4, that's 5. That's less. So that's a no right there. Okay, so let's put a no on that. Alright, remember the smaller two sides have to add up to more than the biggest. Okay? How about this? The biggest is 5. 2 plus 1, that's only 3. That's less. So that's a no. Alright, biggest here is 9. Alright, 7 plus 8, that's 15. That's bigger. So yes, you can make a triangle out of that. Alright, how about this one? The biggest side is 10. 3 plus 1, that's only 4. Okay, that's less. They'll never touch. That's a no. Okay, that's a no. What about this grouping right here? Let's see. 5 plus the biggest side is 8. 5 plus 3 is exactly 8. It's equal. But that's not good enough. It's got to be bigger. Can't be equal to. That they will only touch on a straight line. So that's another no. Okay, 9 is the biggest. 3 plus 7 is 10. That's more than 9. So yes, you can make a triangle out of those. The biggest here is 4. 1 plus 1 is only 2. That's less. So that's a no. And what was that? I lost my train of thought. 5 is the biggest. 3 plus 3 is 6. That's more than 5. So that can make a triangle. So that's a yes. Okay, so we were supposed to circle all the ones that can make a triangle. So this can make a triangle, this can make a triangle, and this one can make a triangle. Alright, for number 10, we're supposed to circle the combinations that can form a right triangle. Not just any kind of triangle, but a right triangle. Alright, if it's a right triangle, the Pythagorean theorem should work. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. Okay, now, once again, let's focus on the largest side. So in this case, 4, and 5, and 16. The reason why I'm highlighting these will be the possible hypotenuse. This will be the c in a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Alright, 4, 37, let's see, 29, and 5. Okay, so in each one of these we would check real quick. Does a squared plus b squared equal c squared? Alright, I feel like I better zoom in so we can do this justice. Okay, so for example, does 2 squared plus 3 squared equal 4 squared? Okay, that's the question. Well, I know that 4 squared is 16. Okay, and here I have 2 squared is 4 and 3 squared is 9. Well, that is 13. Okay, so 13 does not equal to 16. Okay, so this is not a right triangle. Okay, a squared plus b squared did not equal c squared. Okay, I'm going to switch colors every time. So looking at this one right here, I'm asking myself, does 2 squared plus 1 squared equal 5 squared? Well, 5 squared is 25. 2 squared is 4. 1 squared is 1. So that's 6. 6 does not equal to 25. So no, that's not a right triangle either. Okay, how about these guys? So the question is, does 8 squared plus 16, does 8 squared plus 15 squared equal 16 squared? Okay, I'm going to need a calculator for this. So 8 squared plus 15 squared, let's do that. Okay, so 8 squared plus 15 squared. Alright, that is 289. Okay, so I've got 289 on the left. and then 16 squared, 256. Alright, obviously those are not equal. Okay, so that is not a right triangle. Okay, does 7 squared plus 8 squared equal 9 squared? Well, I know 9 squared is 81. So 7 squared is 49. And then 64. Does this equal 81? No. You know, 60 plus 20 is 80. So 64 plus 49 is way over 81. So these are not equal. So this is not a right triangle either. Wow, are any of these right triangles? I'm getting a whole lot of no so far. Okay, so how about this one? Okay, does 1 squared plus 3 squared does 1 squared plus 3 squared equal 4 squared? Well, 1 squared is 1, 3 squared is 9, and 4 squared is 16. 9 plus 1 is 10, not 16. So that's not a right triangle. Wow, having trouble finding a right triangle. Let's see, how about 12 squared? Wait, I want to change colors now. How about 12 squared plus 35 squared? Does that equal 37 squared? I'll need a calculator for this. So 12 squared plus 35 squared. 12 squared plus 35 squared. Okay, that's 1,369. Alright, now let's check 37 squared. Oh, we finally have a match. 1,369. Okay, these are equal. Yes. So that means that this would form a right triangle. Alright, it fits the Pythagorean theorem. Okay, notice how we have to put the biggest one as the C. Alright, out of all those so far we've only found one. Okay, let's try this again. So does 20 squared plus 21 squared equal 29 squared? Alright, my calculator's going to help me. Alright, that's 841. Now how about 29 squared? Also 841. Another winner. Another winner. So those are equal. So that makes this a right triangle. Okay, let's check one more. 3 squared plus 3 squared. Does that equal 5 squared? Well, that's 9 plus 9. Does that equal 25? Okay, does 18 equal 25? No. Okay, so only these two are forming a right triangle. Okay, none of the rest worked. So that was number 10. Okay. Alright, I think I'm going to go ahead and stop this video here. Alright, it's the end of this page, and we're switching gears. Alright, so I'm going to make one more video for this lesson to cover this last page. And in that video, we're going to get into the special triangles, your 45, 45, 90, your 30, 60, 90 triangles. And at the very end, I'm going to try to squeeze in a little bit about complementary angles, sine of one angle equaling the cosine of other angle. Alright, so one more video to come. I'll see you on the next video.